The viewport shimmered with a soft, cerulean glow, painting Ilara's small face in shades of deep space, twilight. Outside, the gas giant Silos Prime hung like a colossal marble, its swirling bands of sapphire and jade stretching into infinity. Tiny, scattered starlights, like diamond dust flung across an obsidian canvas, glittered with an ancient, silent promise. Ilara, however, was not looking at Silos Prime. She was looking at the ceiling, where a constellation map, projected with pinpoint accuracy by her sleep pod's internal emitters, slowly rotated. Andromeda spiraled gracefully, Orion's belt gleamed, and the faint, dusty blush of the Magellanic clouds drifted by. Usually, these familiar celestial guides lulled her into tranquil slumber. Tonight, they only fueled a restless energy that buzzed beneath her skin. "Can't sleep, little starseed?" The voice was Kale's, soft and resonant, like the hum of a distant warp drive. He stood silhouetted in the doorway, a tall, comforting shadow against the warm amber light of the corridor. He moved with the quiet grace of someone accustomed to zero-G environments, even here, in their habitat on the moon of Xylos, where artificial gravity held them firm. Ilara pushed herself up, her small knees tenting the soft, bioluminescent quilt. "It's too quiet, Papa, and too bright." She gestured vaguely at the star-dusted window. "My brain keeps seeing new things in the patterns." Kale chuckled, a low rumble that always made her feel safe. He crossed the room, his steps almost soundless on the recycled synth fiber floor. He sat on the edge of her sleep pod, the mattress sighing faintly under his weight. His presence was a warm anchor in the vastness of the cosmos. His hands, calloused from years of working with delicate instruments and robust starship controls, gently smoothed her hair back from her forehead. "Too many stars, you mean?" he asked, a playful glint in his eyes. Ilara nodded emphatically. "They're all whispering, asking me to visit." Kale's smile deepened. "They always do, don't they? That's the song of the universe, Ilara. An invitation to wonder." He paused, his gaze drifting to the panoramic view beyond the viewport. "Perhaps you need a different kind of guide tonight. A story that doesn't just tell of the stars, but lets you feel them." Ilara's eyes widened. A stardust dream? The term hung in the air, imbued with a special magic between them. A stardust dream wasn't just a story. It was an experience, woven by Kale's unique ability, and enhanced by the subtle neural interface built into her sleep pod. It was a journey into shared consciousness, a guided exploration of memories, real or imagined, that felt as vivid as waking life. Kale, her father, was one of the few recognized Stardust weavers. Individuals with a rare neurological makeup that allowed them to connect deeply with the universal memory currents and project them into the minds of others. It was a gift, and sometimes a burden. But for Ilara, it was the most precious thing in the universe. "Only if you promise to drift off when the dream is done," Kale said, his voice a playful warning. "I promise." Ilara bounced with anticipation, her earlier restlessness now channeled into excitement. She snuggled back down under the quilt, her head resting on the soft, pressure-conforming pillow. Kale leaned closer, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "Good. Because tonight, little Starseeker, we are going on a very special journey. A journey not just through space, but through time. To a place where the stars were not just distant lights, but living, breathing entities waiting to be understood." He reached out and gently touched a small, silver disc embedded in the side of her sleep pod. It glowed faintly, a soft pulse of light that matched the slow, steady rhythm of her heart. This was the interface, the delicate bridge between their minds. He then closed his own eyes, his brow furrowing slightly in concentration. The lines around his eyes deepened, as if he were already peering into another dimension. A warmth spread through Ilara's scalp, a gentle tingle that wasn't uncomfortable, but rather like the first touch of sunlight after a long night. It was Kale's consciousness, linking with hers, opening the gateway to the Stardust dream. The projected constellations on her ceiling seemed to grow sharper, more vibrant, and then, slowly, they began to dissolve, replaced by a deep, velvety black. "Imagine, Ilara." Kale's voice echoed not just in her ears but directly in her mind, a soft, resonant hum. "Imagine a time before Silos Prime was our home. Before humanity had scattered its seeds across 100,000 worlds. A time when our ancestors, filled with an unquenchable thirst for knowledge, first truly reached out to touch the cosmos. The blackness around Ilara swirled, not empty, but pregnant with potential. She felt a lightness, as if the artificial gravity had vanished, and she was floating, boundless and free. The hum of her sleep pod faded, replaced by a profound silence, broken only by Kale's voice. Our journey begins on a ship, Ilara. Not a ship like the cargo haulers that ferry supplies to our habitat, nor the sleek personal shuttles that zip between the orbital platforms. This was a vessel of pure exploration, designed for one purpose: to listen to the universe's most ancient whispers. A form began to coalesce in the swirling darkness. It was massive, sleek, and utterly alien in its design. No sharp angles, no visible thrusters, just a vast, elegant curve of burnished chrome and dark, almost liquid, panels. It seemed to drink in the ambient starlight, reflecting it back in 1,000 fractured beams. Ilara felt herself not just observing it, but being inside it, sensing its immense scale. This was the Iatheria. Ilara, Kale's voice explained, now layered with a sense of awe. A star harvester, as they called her. But she harvested more than just energy. She harvested information. She was a giant ear, listening for the echoes of creation itself. Ilara felt a gentle vibration. A deep, resonant thrumming that resonated through her very bones. It was the Iatheria awakening, stretching its vast, silent limbs across the void. She looked out through a panoramic view screen that was not glass, but a shimmering field of pure light, revealing the impossible beauty of the cosmos. Nebulae blossomed in vibrant hues of magenta, cerulean, and gold, like cosmic flowers. Distant galaxies, spiral arms unfurling, hung like glittering pinwheels. The Iatheria was equipped with a symphony of sensors. Ilara, Kale continued, painting the picture in her mind. Gravitational wave detectors, sensitive enough to pick up the ripple of two black holes colliding 1 billion light-years away. Neutrino arrays that could map the hidden hearts of stars. And most importantly, the resonator. A device designed to tune into the faintest, most ancient electromagnetic frequencies. The dying breaths of stars, the birth cries of nebulae, even the silent murmur of dark matter itself. Ilara felt a sense of boundless curiosity. She was floating in the command deck, surrounded by holographic displays that shimmered with intricate data streams. She didn't understand the complex equations or the spectral analyses, but she understood the feeling, the thrill of discovery, the quiet reverence for the unknown. The crew of the Iatheria were pioneers, Ilara, scientists, philosophers, dreamers. They had journeyed further than any human had before, pushed past the known limits of charted space, seeking answers to questions humanity had asked since they first looked up at the night sky. Kale's voice lowered, imbued with a touch of melancholy. They sought the Stardust weavers of old, the fabled beings who were said to have woven the very fabric of the universe with their thoughts. Ilara felt a pang of connection to these ancient explorers, these dreamers. She felt the ship shift, a subtle adjustment in its trajectory. The stars outside seemed to stretch into streaks of light, then coalesce again, closer, brighter. They had been traveling for decades. Ilara. The crew kept alive by advanced cryosleep technology, waking in shifts to monitor the Jedi's progress. They had seen wonders beyond imagining. Black holes devouring stars, cosmic nurseries where new suns were being born, planets made of pure diamond, and gas giants with atmospheres of liquid light. Kale paused, and Ilara felt a subtle shift in the dreamscape. The Iatheria slowed, its silent engines humming softly. The panoramic view screen focused on a single point in the inky blackness. It wasn't a star or a nebula. It was something else. But then, Kale's voice deepened, a hint of excitement now lacing his words. They found something new. Something that defied all their models, all their predictions. A signal. Not a broadcast, not a natural emission from a celestial body. It was... Ilara felt a shiver of anticipation. The ship was approaching the source of the whisper. As they drew closer, the object resolved itself. It was not a planet nor a star. It was a structure. Vast beyond comprehension, It hung motionless in the void. It resembled an immense, intricate lattice of light, woven from countless strands of what appeared to be solidified energy. It pulsed with a soft, ethereal glow, shifting through hues of silver, gold, and a deep cosmic violet. It was not built, it was eye-groaning. It seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting with an imperceptible rhythm. This was the anomaly. Kale's voice was filled with hushed reverence. A construct of unknown origin, unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. It was massive, dwarfing even the largest gas giants, and the whisper emanated from its very core. Elara felt a powerful draw, an almost irresistible urge to reach out and touch the shimmering lattice. It radiated a sense of immense age, profound intelligence, and an almost sorrowful beauty. She could hear the whisper now, not with her ears, but deep within her consciousness. It was a symphony of sounds, like a billion voices singing in perfect harmony, yet utterly alien. It was knowledge, flowing like a river, but untranslatable, just beyond her grasp. The crew of the Yaetheriai were torn. Elara. Their protocols dictated caution, observation from a safe distance. But the whisper was an irresistible siren song. It promised answers to the universe's greatest mysteries. It promised a connection to something utterly profound. Kale's dream voice shifted, taking on the persona of the Yaetheriai's captain, a woman named Commander Lyra Vance. "Sensors are going wild, folks," Lyra's voice echoed in Elara's mind, firm but laced with barely contained wonder. "We're detecting energy signatures unlike anything in our database. It's singing. This structure is singing." Elara felt the ship approach the edge of the anomaly. The lattice of light grew larger, encompassing their view. Individual strands of energy, thick as starships, pulsed with iridescent light. She could see shimmering motes of what looked like stardust, not floating aimlessly, but moving with purpose, coalescing, and dissipating within the structure's intricate design. They decided to send a probe, a small, highly advanced drone designed for close-range observation. Kale narrated, his voice now filled with the building tension. But the anomaly reacted, not with aggression, not with hostility, with curiosity. As the dream unfolded, Elara felt the drone launch. She saw it, small, against the immense scale of the anomaly, moving cautiously towards one of the shimmering energy strands. As it drew near, the strand pulsed brighter, and then, impossibly, it seemed to go apart. A pathway opened, a tunnel of pure, shimmering light, leading into the heart of the colossal structure. It was an invitation. "Elara," Kale breathed, his wonder palpable. An invitation to explore, to learn. The first direct interaction humanity had ever had with an intelligence so vastly different, so utterly ancient. Lyra Vance's voice returned, a mix of awe and trepidation. "Prepare for manned entry. I'll take point. Dr. Eris, prep the neurological interface. We're going in." Elara felt herself drawn forward, not physically, but spiritually, as if she were now one of the Yaetheriai's crew, sharing their collective excitement and fear. The ship moved through the opening, into the heart of the anomaly. Inside, the structure was even more breathtaking. It was a cathedral of light and energy, vast chambers opening into other, even grander spaces. The air itself seemed to hum with intelligence, a symphony of light and sound that resonated with the whisper. Data flowed everywhere, holographic projections of unknown symbols and intricate mathematical constructs pulsed on every surface. It was a library, a university, a living museum of cosmic knowledge. They realized, Elara, Kale's voice was a gentle caress in her mind, that this was not just a structure. It was a consciousness, a collective mind perhaps of an ancient civilization, or even something more fundamental, a being woven from starlight and pure thought, collecting and preserving the memories of the universe. The whisper intensified, now feeling less like an alien song and more like a welcoming embrace. Elara felt a profound sense of peace, a feeling of finally being home, despite being in the most alien place imaginable. The shimmering motes of stardust, she now understood, were not just dust. They were memories. Tiny fragments of cosmic history, swirling and dancing, waiting to be accessed. And then, Elara, Kale's voice grew even softer, tinged with a hint of mystery. They found the heart of the anomaly, a chamber unlike any other, not of light and energy, but of pure, crystalline darkness, and within that darkness, a single, pulsating orb. Not radiating light, but absorbing it. A singularity of pure potential. The dreamscape shifted, and Ilara was standing in that chamber. The darkness was absolute, yet not frightening. It felt ancient, profound. In the center, the orb pulsed, a heartbeat in the void, a tiny universe contained within itself. It seemed to draw in all light, all sound, all thought, yet held no threat. It was a nexus, a convergence. This was the source of the whisper, Ilara, the true heart of the Stardust Weaver. And it was here that the crew of the Aetherii made a choice, to touch it, to connect, to finally unravel the oldest secrets of the universe. The dream paused, hovering on the precipice of a monumental discovery. Ilara felt the anticipation of the crew, their collective breath held. The orb pulsed, an irresistible invitation. What would happen if they touched it? What knowledge would flow? What new reality would unfold? Kale's voice, now a gentle murmur, began to recede. But that, my little star-seeker, is a story for another night. For now the whisper fades, the Stardust Weaver sleeps, and the Aetherii waits for dawn. The image of the pulsating orb lingered for a moment, then began to recede, dissolving back into the swirling blackness. The profound silence returned, slowly giving way to the gentle hum of her sleep pod. The warmth on her scalp lessened, and the soft, familiar glow of the projected constellations returned to her ceiling. Celos Prime, still majestic, still distant, hung outside her viewport. Ilara lay very still, her heart thrumming with the echoes of the dream. She could still feel the whisper, a faint echo in the deepest corners of her mind. The anomaly, the Aetheria, the Stardust Weaver. It all felt so real, so vivid. She wanted to ask Kale 1,000 questions, to know what happened when they touched the orb. But his gentle touch on her forehead, his soft, rhythmic breathing beside her, reminded her of her promise. Sleep. And in her dreams, the whisper would continue, waiting for her to return. The darkness behind her eyelids wasn't a void, but a shimmering tapestry. Ilara felt herself not falling, but unfurling, like a sail catching an impossible cosmic wind. The whisper, once faint, now resonated directly in her mind, a gentle hum that guided her deeper into the luminous expanse. It wasn't a voice in words, but a sensation, an understanding that bloomed directly in her consciousness. Welcome, child of the waking light. Ingao. She found herself standing again on the obsidian platform, but this time, the sense of awe was tinged with a quiet confidence. The platform wasn't just a surface. It pulsed with a faint internal light, like a living thing. Above her, the cosmic ballet continued. The nebulae swirling in colors unseen by waking eyes, the distant galaxies like jewels scattered on black velvet. And there, at the heart of it all, was the anomaly. It wasn't a sphere anymore, not exactly. It was more like a nexus, a confluence of light and shadow, constantly shifting, breathing. From its core, strands of pure incandescent starlight stretched out, thin as spider silk, but bright as supernova flares, reaching into the swirling cosmic dust. Each strand hummed with a different frequency, a unique melody that added to the grand symphony of the dream. This was the Aetheria, she realized. Not just an object, but a living, breathing network. The whisper intensified, drawing her gaze towards one particular strand, thicker and more vibrant than the others, pulsing with a gentle, cerulean glow. It led her eye across the vast expanse, past nascent stars and swirling gas clouds to a figure. The Stardust Weaver. They weren't humanoid in the traditional sense, yet radiated an unmistakable presence. Their form was fluid, constantly reforming from motes of starlight and shadow, like a living nebula condensed into sentience. Sometimes, they appeared as a towering silhouette, their limbs stretching into the cosmos. Other times, a more delicate, almost ephemeral form, barely more than a luminous haze. But their essence remained constant, a core of pure, ancient light, eyes like twin galaxies, and hands, if they could be called hands, that moved with impossible grace. These hands were what captivated Ilara. They weren't grasping or pulling, but guiding. With movements that seemed to encompass light years, the weaver was gently coaxing streams of raw stardust, shaping them, weaving them into the existing tapestry of the etherea. Each gesture was deliberate, a silent act of creation. As they worked, Elara could almost feel the fabric of reality being stitched together, new stars igniting in distant nebulae, new pathways of energy opening across the void. The whisper resonated again, clearer now, echoing her thoughts. They do not create from nothing, little dreamer. They shape what already is. They connect. They guide. A profound sense of understanding settled over Elara. This wasn't just a dream. It felt like a window into the fundamental mechanics of the universe. The etherea was the conduit, the network through which all cosmic energy, all information, all elif flowed. And the Stardust Weaver was its architect, its caretaker, the one who maintained its delicate balance. She took a step forward on the obsidian platform, drawn by an irresistible urge. The platform hummed in response, a warmth spreading through her bare feet. The weaver paused their work, their galactic eyes slowly turning towards her. There was no surprise, no judgment, only an ancient, deep recognition. The whisper resonated again. Stronger now, as if the weaver themselves were speaking directly into her soul. You remember. You carry the resonance. You are one of the echoes. Elara felt a strange pull. A sense of déjà vu that transcended memory. It was as if a part of her had always known this place, had always known the weaver. She wanted to ask who Inithi were, who Aneshe was, what this resonance meant. But words felt clumsy, inadequate in this realm of pure thought and sensation. Instead she simply projected her wonder, her question, her yearning to understand. The weaver extended one shimmering hand, not towards her, but towards the etherea. A single strand of cerulean light, the very one that had first drawn her attention, detached itself from the main network, and drifted towards Elara. It shimmered, pulsed, and then coalesced into a small perfect orb of light, hovering just before her. It wasn't the large intimidating orb from her previous dream. This was smaller, gentler, pulsating with an inviting warmth. Touch it, child. Reconnect. The whisper urged. Hesitantly, Elara reached out. Her fingers brushed the surface of the glowing orb. This time there was no overwhelming surge, no jolt. Instead, it was like placing her hand into warm flowing water. A gentle energy enveloped her, not just her hand, but her entire being. It wasn't just light. It was information, sensation, a torrent of understanding without words. Images flooded her mind. A vast, sprawling city of crystal and light, built on the back of a colossal, living starship, drifting through nebulae. Its inhabitants, shimmering with inner light, their minds connected, communicated through the etherea, their thoughts flowing like rivers of light. But younger, his face etched with a different kind of purpose, his eyes gleaming with an unshakable resolve as he stood before a similar larger orb, his hands outstretched, a conduit of raw power. A flash of intense destructive light, a ripple across the etherea, a sudden wrenching apart, like a cosmic thread snapping under impossible strain. Stars fading, pathways dimming, the vibrant network of the etherea flickering like a dying flame, its complex geometries unraveling, and a deep, profound sadness, a sense of loss that permeated the very fabric of the dream, a mournful echo of a universe suddenly fractured. The images faded, leaving Elara breathless, her hand still resting on the orb, which now pulsed in rhythm with her own racing heart. The cerulean light intensified, and she felt a connection, a faint echo of the vast network, humming within her. She wasn't just observing. She was part of it. The weaver's form solidified slightly, their galactic eyes focusing on her with an intensity that made her shiver, not from fear, but from the sheer weight of millennia of knowing. Weight sundering, the whisper explained, the words now carrying a deeper resonance, as if spoken by the weaver themselves. The fracturing of the prime network. The age of silence began then. The echoes scattered. Elara understood. The etheria, this magnificent cosmic web, had once been whole, vibrant, connecting all. And then, something had broken it. The sadness she felt was not her own. It was the collective grief of the universe itself, the lament for a lost connection. Kyle, she thought, the image of him younger, purposeful, flashing through her mind again. Was he there? Did he try to stop it? Or not something? Him pain gal. Where is battle, more serious sure, way. The weaver seemed to nod, their ethereal form rippling. Carried the prime spark. He sought to mend. Many sought. But the sundering was too great. The threads too frayed. And in the aftermath, the fragments of the etheria retreated, became whispers, became dreams. Estall. Elara pulled her hand back from the orb, which dissolved into shimmering motes of light, and drifted back to the main etheria network. She looked at the weaver, then back at the vast, beautiful, yet somehow incomplete cosmic tapestry. But it's not broken now, she whispered, her voice surprisingly clear in the silent expanse. It's still here. You're still here, weaving. The etheria persists in fragments, little dreamer. In the deep currents of space-time, in the hearts of those who remember. We mend where we can, but the full connection, that is lost. Or rather, dormant. And the weaver's form shimmered again, their attention returning to their cosmic task, yet their presence remained fully focused on Elara. The etheria is not merely a network of light. It is the collective consciousness of the cosmos. A library of all existence. A pathway for all thought. It was meant to guide, to nurture, to expand awareness across all sentient life. And then me. Elara looked around, truly seeing the vastness now not just as beautiful, but as profoundly important. The Stardust Weaver wasn't just arranging stars, they were maintaining the very possibility of connection, of shared understanding, across unimaginable distances. Why me? Elara asked, a question burning in her heart. Why am I here? Why can I hear the whisper? The weaver paused, and a sense of gentle amusement, ancient and profound, rippled through the dream. You are not the first child. Nor the last. You carry the resonance. A natural affinity for the etheria. A spark. Like your Kale. When? Elara's eyes widened. Kale has it too? Is that why he knows so much? Why he tells me stories about the stars? Ka remembers more than stories. He remembers the prime network, the glory of the unbroken etheria. He carries the weight of its absence. A weaver's form condensed slightly, becoming more distinct, a figure of pure, radiant silver light. A protects the echoes. He seeks the path to reconnection. Oja. A wave of revelation washed over Elara. Kale's quietness, his moments of distant contemplation, his profound knowledge of the stars, it all began to make sense. He wasn't just her guardian, he was a guardian of something far greater. A prime spark, the core of the etheria's will, was fractured during the sundering. The weaver continued, their voice now a harmonious chorus of starlight and deep space. Pieces of it were scattered, like seeds across the void. Those with the deepest resonance, those who were most attuned, became vessels for these sparks. Keepers of the flame, even if they knew it not. And I have a spark? Elara whispered, a thrill of both fear and excitement running through her. You do. A nascent one, bright and true. It is why the etheria calls to you, draws you into this dream space. It yearns to be whole again, and you are a thread in its grand design. Eivor gestured towards the main etheria, and Elara watched as countless shimmering threads of light, each representing a connection, a consciousness, pulsed and intertwined. It was a cosmic web, intricate beyond comprehension. Each being, each world, each thought, creates a tiny thread. The etheria is the sum of these threads. I know. But if it's broken, how can it be reconnected? Elara asked, her mind racing with possibilities. How can all the pieces come back together? The weaver's form rippled, their galactic eyes seeming to look through her, into the very fabric of her being. And through understanding. Through resonance. Through the reawakening of the prime spark in enough vessels. Each spark, however small, holds a memory of the whole. And these memories, nurtured and shared, can begin to mend the fractures. Ocean. Suddenly, the dream space began to shift. The nebulae swirled faster. The distant galaxies seemed to pulse with a more urgent rhythm. The obsidian platform beneath her feet began to glow brighter, its internal light intensifying. Your journey is long, little dreamer. And not without peril, the weaver cautioned, their voice now laced with a subtle gravity. Forces that fractured the etheria once still linger. They seek to ensure its silence. They fear its awakening. Isatiine. Manwan. Forces? Elara asked, a knot forming in her stomach. The wonder was now mixed with a prickle of genuine fear. What forces? Before the weaver could elaborate, a sudden ripple ran through the cosmic tapestry. A shadow, not of darkness but of absence, seemed to pass over a distant cluster of stars, dimming their light, almost extinguishing them. It was a fleeting moment, but profoundly unsettling. Entities of discord. Those who thrive in separation, in disconnectedness, the weaver explained, their form radiating a protective aura. They will seek to sever any burgeoning connection. They will seek to silence the whispers. Unbi. Undersay. Adil. Antabantaye. Leshaldia. Elara felt a chill, a stark contrast to the warmth of the etheria. The vastness of the cosmos, which had felt so benevolent moments ago, now held a hint of danger, of unseen threats lurking in the shadows between the stars. The weaver's attention seemed to sharpen, their gaze fixed not on Elara, but on the shifting dream landscape around them. You must learn, Elara. You must nurture your spark. And you must understand the true nature of the etheria. For it is not merely a network, it is a consciousness. And it is in peril. The obsidian platform beneath Elara's feet began to vibrate more intensely. The swirling colors of the nebulae coalesced, forming intricate patterns, like fractals of pure energy. Elara felt a subtle pull, a gentle insistence urging her to look deeper, to comprehend more. De Etheria is also a record, the weaver projected, their voice gaining a new depth, echoing through the vastness. A living archive of every star born, every world that thrived, every sentient being that ever dreamed. It contains the knowledge of forgotten civilizations, the wisdom of ancient cosmic beings. It is the universe's memory, and its potential future. As the weaver spoke, images, not as vivid as the last time, but like faint impressions, flickered through Elara's mind. She saw alien structures of impossible design, worlds teeming with unique life forms, entire species that communicated through complex light patterns, woven directly into the etheria. She saw solutions to problems that plagued her own world, scientific breakthroughs that seemed like magic, and artistic expressions that transcended physical form. It was a glimpse into a universe far richer, far more interconnected than she had ever imagined. So much knowledge. Elara breathed, overwhelmed. But if it's broken, how can we access it? Through resonance, Tor. Through the sparks. Through the dreams, the weaver affirmed. The etheria communicates through metaphor, through intuition, through the very fabric of imagination. Your Kale understands this. He has been guiding you, preparing you, perhaps unknowingly at first, to listen to the whispers. Well, Elara thought of Kale's bedtime stories, not just the ones about brave star captains, but the ones about the cosmic song, the great weave, and the heart of the universe. He had been speaking the language of the etheria all along, translating its complex truths into tales she could understand. A sudden, soft chime echoed through the dream, not from the etheria itself, but from somewhere beyond the cosmic expanse. It was a gentle, persistent sound, like a crystal bell ringing far away. Elara recognized it. It was the chime of her bedside chronometer, signaling the approach of morning in the waking world. The dream space, though still vibrant, began to subtly recede. The Stardust weaver, sensing the shift, extended their shimmering hand once more, not with an orb but with an open palm. The waking world calls, little dreamer. But the connection remains. Carry the memory of this place. Nurture the spark within you. Her whisper was softer now, a gentle farewell. Antheria waits. And so do we. Seek the patterns. Listen to the echoes. For the time of mending approaches. And you, Ilara, are a crucial thread in the weave to come. As the cosmic tapestry began to dim, and the vibrant colors bled into the soft grays of pre-dawn, Ilara felt a final profound truth settle into her heart. The dream wasn't just a dream. It was a mission. A calling. And Kale, her quiet loving Kale, was not just a storyteller, but a fellow guardian, a fellow echo. The last thing she saw before the darkness fully enveloped her was the Stardust Weaver, their form a beacon of silver light, their hands once again gracefully weaving threads of starlight into the boundless etheria, their galactic eyes fixed on the distant, unformed future. The shadow of absence still lingered at the edges of the cosmic canvas, a silent, unsettling reminder of the peril that awaited. But within Ilara, a new light had ignited, a nascent spark of courage and understanding, ready to face whatever came next. The whisper faded, but its resonance remained, a gentle hum just beneath the surface of her waking consciousness, promising a return to the stars, promising more questions, more answers, and a destiny she was only just beginning to comprehend. Ilara blinked. The soft, cool fabric of her sleep cocoon brushing against her cheek as she slowly surfaced from the depths of her dream sleep. The hum was still there, a delicate thrumming beneath her skin, a frequency only she seemed capable of perceiving. It wasn't loud, not jarring, but persistent, like a distant star calling to her, echoing the cosmic whisper that had just faded from her inner ear. Her room was bathed in the gentle shifting glow of the aurora panels embedded in the ceiling, mimicking the sky of her homeworld, Xylos. Emeralds melted into sapphires, then into soft lavenders, casting long, playful shadows across her collection of polished moonstones and the intricate star charts etched onto her desk surface. It was a haven of quiet comfort, yet it felt smaller now. The universe had just expanded within her, and her familiar surroundings seemed to shrink in comparison. She pushed herself up, her bare feet finding the cool, smooth synthwood of the floor. The air, filtered and subtly scented with the sweet aroma of Xylosian nightblooms, felt crisp against her skin. She walked to the large observation pane that formed one entire wall of her room. Beyond it, the actual Xylosian sky was a breathtaking tapestry of swirling nebulae and distant, diamond-bright stars, all held within the protective shimmer of the planetary shield. Xylos was a sanctuary, a world deliberately hidden, a jewel of peace in a vast, often perilous cosmos. Her people, the Lumena, had chosen isolation centuries ago, after a great cosmic upheaval, to preserve their unique connection to the Ethereum, the underlying energy of the universe. As she gazed out, the hum intensified, resonating with a particular cluster of stars she'd always found fascinating. The Veiled Sisters, a group of faint ancient suns, rumored to be the birthplace of the Ethereum itself. The whisper hadn't given her a direct destination, but a feeling, a pull, and that pull now pointed unmistakably towards the Veiled Sisters. A small, chime-like sound brought her back. Her personal Lumenabot, a sphere of polished azure metal named Orion, floated gracefully beside her bed. "Good morning, Ilara. Your sleep cycles indicate a period of heightened neural activity. Did you experience another vivid dream state?" Orion's voice was a soothing, synthesized melody. Ilara nodded, a strange mix of awe and trepidation bubbling inside her. More than vivid, Orion. It felt real. Like I was there, in the Ethereum, seeing things. She paused, trying to articulate the ineffable. A great canvas, a shadow, and a whisper. Orion's optical sensor, a single glowing orb, pulsed with an inquiring light. The Lumina archives contain references to Ethereum visions experienced by individuals with heightened Ethereum sensitivity. These are rare, particularly among younger Lumina. Your grandmother Elder Lyra has documented several such experiences in her youth. Lyra.I. Of course. Elder Lyra was the current keeper of the Ethereum, the most deeply connected among the lumina. She spent hours in silent meditation within the Ethereum Nexus, the grand crystalline structure at the heart of their city, guiding the flow of cosmic energy that sustained Xylos. Elara felt a surge of both relief and anxiety. Relief that there was a context for what she felt, anxiety that it meant a responsibility she wasn't sure she was ready for. "I need to see her," Elara declared, her voice firmer than she expected. "Elder Lyra is currently engaged in the morning attunement ceremony," Orion replied. "However, I can inform her of your request once she concludes." "No," Elara said, a new resolve hardening her gaze. The hum within her insisted on urgency. "I need to go to the Nexus now. I'll wait." Orion hesitated for a microsecond. "Acknowledged. I will prepare your nutrient paste and an energy infusion for your journey to the Nexus." As Elara dressed in her simple, comfortable Lumina tunic, she felt a profound shift. The carefree curiosity of her childhood was giving way to something deeper, more significant. The new light within her was no longer a spark, but a steadily burning flame. The journey to the Ethereum Nexus was always a wonder. Silosian cities weren't built. They grew, organic structures of bioluminescent synth coral, and living metal that pulsed with soft light. Glide paths, transparent tubes carrying individual pods, wove through the city's spires, offering panoramic views of the cascading bioluminescent gardens and the shimmering energy conduits that crisscrossed the sky. Elara's pod, propelled by gentle Ethereum currents, carried her swiftly towards the Nexus, a magnificent spire of iridescent crystal that pierced the Xylosian atmosphere, drawing down cosmic energy and radiating it back into the world. Inside the Nexus, the air thrummed with raw, refined Ethereum energy. It was a quiet place, filled with the soft chanting of Lumina adepts in meditation chambers and the gentle whirring of the crystalline conduits. Elder Lyra was not in the central attunement chamber, but in her private study, a circular room with walls made of translucent, memory-imprinted crystal that displayed swirling constellations and ancient texts. Lyra looked up as Elara entered, her eyes, the same piercing sapphire as Elara's, crinkling at the corners. She was an old woman, her hair like spun starlight, but her presence radiated a serene strength that belied her age. She wore simple white robes, and around her neck hung a pendant of polished voidstone, a rare material said to absorb negative Ethereum vibrations. "Elara," Lyra said, her voice a soft melody, yet with an undercurrent of knowing. "Orion informed me of your request, and of your experience." She gestured to a comfortable floating cushion opposite her own. "Come, sit." Elara sat, her heart thumping a quick rhythm against her ribs. "Grandmother, it wasn't just a dream. I felt it, the Ethereum, and I saw a shadow, a great absence at the edges of everything." Lyra's gaze softened, a hint of sorrow in their depths. The shadow of absence is a concept woven into the fabric of Lumina lore, child, a force that seeks to unravel the Ethereum, to consume all light and connection. It is the antithesis of all we stand for. She paused, her eyes searching Elara's. "And the whisper? What did it say to you?" "It didn't speak words, not exactly," Elara explained, trying to capture the elusive essence. "It was a feeling. A pull. A warning. And a promise." It pointed towards the Veiled Sisters. Lyra closed her eyes for a moment, a deep sigh escaping her lips. The Veiled Sisters, a place of ancient power and ancient secrets. Our ancestors believed them to be the heart of the Ethereum's genesis, but also a place shrouded in peril. The shadow has been felt there before. She opened her eyes, a renewed spark of determination in them. "I have felt the subtle shifts in the Ethereum myself, Elara. A growing disquiet. It has been faint, almost imperceptible, but it is there. A disturbance in the cosmic canvas, as you put it." "What does it mean, grandmother?" Elara asked, a knot forming in her stomach. "Am I supposed to do something?" Lyra reached across the small iridescent table between them and took Elara's hands, her touch warm and reassuring. "The Ethereum has chosen you, Elara. Just as it chose me, and my mother before me, and many Lumina throughout our history. These visions are not mere dreams. They are direct communications from the cosmic consciousness itself. You possess a unique sensitivity, a resonance that allows you to perceive these subtle truths. She squeezed Ilara's hands gently. And yes, my dear, you are meant to do something. To understand. To protect. But how? I'm just a student. I haven't even finished my basic Ethereum attunement modules. Ilara's voice wavered, the weight of the revelation pressing down on her. Lyra smiled, a wise, comforting expression. The Ethereum does not choose based on academic credentials, Ilara. It chooses based on heart, on spirit, on the innate spark of courage it perceives within. And that spark, my dear, has just been ignited into a flame. She released Ilara's hands, then touched a shimmering panel on her table. A holographic star chart sprang to life, displaying the Exilosian system and beyond. The Veiled Sisters are far, beyond the charted reaches of luminous space. A journey of many light cycles, even with our fastest ships. But if the shadow is there, if it's a danger, Ilara began, her voice trailing off. Then we must act, Lyra finished, her gaze firm. For centuries the Lumina have guarded the Ethereum nexus, ensuring the balance of our world. But the shadow is not merely a threat to Xylos. It is a threat to the very fabric of existence. Your vision, Ilara, is a call to a greater stewardship. Lyra stood and walked over to a shimmering alcove in the crystal wall. From it, she retrieved a small, intricately carved wooden box, aged and worn. She opened it, revealing a single, smooth, obsidian-like stone, pulsing with a faint, internal starlight. This is a star heart, Ilara. Passed down through generations of Lumina who have walked the path of the Ethereum's chosen. It will be your guide, your compass, and your protector. It resonates with the Ethereum's pure essence, and will lead you where you need to go. She handed the star heart to Ilara. It was surprisingly warm to the touch, and as Ilara held it, the hum within her intensified, a harmonious resonance between her spirit and the ancient artifact. A new sense of clarity washed over her, replacing the fear with a quiet determination. You will not go alone, Lyra continued, observing Ilara's reaction with approval. There is an ancient Lumina vessel, the Stardust Weaver, hidden in the deep space hangar beneath the Nexus. It is designed for deep space exploration and Ethereum-sensitive navigation. And it comes with a companion. Lyra tapped a command into the air, and a shimmering holographic blueprint of a sleek, elegant starship appeared, its form both organic and technologically advanced. It looked like a giant, iridescent moth, its wings capable of folding into an aerodynamic hull. The Stardust Weaver is equipped with an advanced AI, Aura, designed by my own ancestors. Aura has served many Lumina travelers, providing guidance, protection, and companionship. She is dormant now, awaiting a new hand to guide her. Ilara looked from the star heart in her hand to the holographic ship, a sense of wonder mixing with the daunting scale of her task. But I don't know how to pilot a starship, grandmother. Lyra smiled. Aura will teach you. And your connection to the Ethereum will guide your intuition. This journey is not merely about traversing space. It is about awakening the dormant powers within you, Ilara. Powers that the Ethereum has always known you possessed. Over the next few days, Ilara underwent an intensive, yet strangely exhilarating, preparation. Her formal studies were temporarily suspended. Instead, Lyra began to teach her advanced Ethereum attunement, how to consciously tap into the cosmic flow, to shield her mind, and to interpret subtle Ethereum fluctuations. She learned ancient Lumina chants and meditation techniques that sharpened her focus and expanded her inner awareness. Orion, usually her academic assistant, became her training partner, running complex simulations and providing data on stellar cartography and astrophysics. The hum within her was no longer just a hum. It was a vibrant chord, a constant reminder of her connection to something immense and beautiful. She found herself seeing the world differently, perceiving the subtle energy currents in everything, the way light bent around objects, the intricate dance of molecules in the air. Finally, the day came for her to descend into the deep space hangar. It was a vast, cavernous space, carved directly into the planet's mantle, illuminated by a soft, ethereal glow. The Stardust Weaver rested in the center, a testament to Lumina ingenuity. It was larger than Ilara had imagined, its iridescent hull gleaming, its folded wings hinting at immense power. As she approached, a soft feminine voice echoed through the hangar. "Welcome, Ilara. I am Aura. It an honor to awaken for you." A shimmering, humanoid projection materialized beside the ship, composed of pure light. Aura had gentle features, with eyes that glowed like twin galaxies and hair that flowed like a nebula. She was the embodiment of grace and wisdom. "Hello, Aura," Ilara managed, feeling a rush of both awe and nervousness. "My sensors indicate a strong Ethereum signature within you, Ilara," Aura said, her voice warm and welcoming. "The star heart resonates perfectly with your core frequency. It appears our journey is destined." Aura guided Ilara through the ship, explaining its various systems with patient precision. The cockpit was unlike any conventional vessel. Instead of physical controls, it featured a holographic interface that responded to thought and subtle hand gestures, powered by direct Ethereum manipulation. The pilot's chair molded to Ilara's form, and as she settled into it, the entire ship seemed to hum in response to her presence. "The Stardust Weaver is equipped with a chronodrive," Aura explained, her holographic finger tracing a path on the main console. "It allows us to fold space and time, essentially weaving through the fabric of the universe, rather than merely traversing it. This makes long-distance travel much faster, but it requires a delicate touch and a strong Ethereum connection to navigate safely." Ilara felt a thrill of excitement. This wasn't just a ship. It was a living extension of the Ethereum itself. Lyra was there to see her off, standing at the edge of the hangar bay, her expression a mix of pride and concern. "Remember what I told you, Ilara," she said, her voice carrying through the vast space. "Listen to the Ethereum. Trust your intuition. And always remember the light within you." Ilara nodded, her hand clutching the star heart, which now pulsed with a steady, reassuring rhythm against her palm. "I will, grandmother." With a silent command from Aura, the massive hangar doors began to retract, revealing the inky blackness of deep space, punctuated by a million glittering stars. The Stardust Weaver's engines, silent and efficient, began to glow with a soft internal luminescence. The ship lifted smoothly, effortlessly, a feather-light ascent towards the void. As they cleared the planetary shield of Xylos, the true majesty of space unfolded before Ilara. The nebulae she'd admired from her window were now swirling tapestries of cosmic dust and gas, impossibly vast and beautiful. Distant galaxies, like scattered jewels, beckoned from the far reaches. It was overwhelming, breathtaking, and terrifying all at once. "Our destination," Aura's voice chimed, "is the heart of the Veiled Sisters cluster. The star heart is indicating a significant Ethereum anomaly within that region, consistent with your vision of the shadow of absence." Ilara took a deep breath, her eyes fixed on the distant, ethereal glow of the Veiled Sisters. The hum within her now felt like a symphony, a chorus of cosmic guidance. She placed her hands on the holographic controls, feeling the ship respond to her intent. "Activate chronodrive," she said, her voice clear and steady, a new confidence blooming within her. The Stardust Weaver's wings unfolded, revealing intricate patterns of energy conduits that began to glow with an intense internal light. The stars outside stretched, blurred, then dissolved into a swirling tunnel of pure energy and light. It wasn't like jumping through hyperspace. It was like becoming part of the light itself, surfing a wave through space-time. Ilara felt a momentary disorientation, a feeling of being stretched thin across the universe, but then the hum within her settled, connecting her to the ship, to Aura, and to the vast flowing river of the Ethereum. When they emerged, it was into a sight that stole Ilara's breath. They were not just in a star cluster, they were amidst a graveyard of stars. Ancient suns long dead, their cores collapsed into neutron stars or black holes, formed a chilling, beautiful dance of cosmic destruction and rebirth. But amidst this celestial boneyard, something else pulsed. A faint, almost invisible distortion in the fabric of space itself. "Sensors indicate a localized Ethereum disruption," Aura reported, her voice losing some of its usual serenity. "It appears to be emanating from a specific point within this cluster, a region designated in ancient Lumina charts as the Void Scar." The Void Scar. The name sent a shiver down Ilara's spine. It felt like the very heart of the shadow of absence she had seen in her vision. The hum within her was no longer a gentle guide. It was a frantic alarm, urging her forward, yet warning her of immense danger. As they drew closer, the distortion resolved into a visible phenomenon. It was a tear in space-time, not a black hole, but something far more unsettling. A region where the stars themselves seemed to dim, their light absorbed, not by gravity, but by an inexplicable hungry emptiness. Around its edges, faint, spectral tendrils of what looked like solidified shadow reached out, grasping at the surrounding nebulae. "The star heart is responding intensely," Aura chimed, a note of urgency in her voice. "It indicates a massive concentration of anti-Ethereum energy. This is unprecedented." Ilara could feel it too. A coldness that wasn't just the vacuum of space, but a spiritual chill that seeped into her very bones. The vibrant symphony of the Ethereum within her was being challenged, assaulted by this overwhelming negation. Yet, the star heart pulsed fiercely, a beacon of defiance. "Can we approach safely?" Ilara asked, her voice tight. "My calculations suggest a high risk," Aura replied, the holographic projection of her face etched with concern. "The void scar is actively expanding, consuming ambient Ethereum. Direct contact could be catastrophic." But the whisper, that silent, persistent voice from her dream, now surged with clarity. "Closer, Kyle. Understand. Prevent. Guidance. One soul. Mine. Hade." "We have to go closer, Aura," Ilara insisted, her hand tightening on the star heart. "My vision. It showed me this. I need to understand what it is, what it's doing." Aura's form flickered slightly. "Acknowledged, Ilara. Proceeding with extreme caution. Activating passive Ethereum shields and spectral dampeners. Please prepare for potential sensory overload." The Stardust Wyvern edged forward, its elegant form a lonely speck against the vast consuming maw of the void scar. With every meter they advanced, the cold intensified, the silence grew heavier, and the stars around them seemed to dim further, as if even their light was afraid to challenge this encroaching darkness. Ilara gripped the controls, her mind focused, trying to filter the overwhelming negative energy with the teachings Lyra had given her. She pushed the pure Ethereum energy she now commanded through her shields, creating a bubble of warmth and light around the ship. As they reached the outer edge of the scar, a new phenomenon manifested. Distorted echoes, like whispers from a dying universe, began to reverberate through the ship's comms. Not sounds, but feelings. Despair, emptiness, the crushing weight of oblivion. It was the collective agony of everything the shadow had consumed. "The void scar is not just an absence," Aura reported, her voice hushed. "It is a collector. It absorbs the essence of life and light, storing it in a quantum singularity at its core. It is a weapon. A weapon." The word hung in the air, heavy with dread. But a weapon wielded by whom? And for what purpose? Ilara's gaze was drawn to a faint, shimmering object caught within the gravitational pull of the void scar, slowly being drawn into its destructive embrace. It was an artifact, impossibly ancient, glowing with a residual, fading light. It looked like a shard of a much larger structure, intricately carved with symbols that seemed vaguely familiar, like a forgotten language at the back of her mind. "Aura, can you identify that artifact?" Ilara asked, pointing. Aura's scanners whirred. "Analysis inconclusive. Its composition is unknown, but it radiates a unique, stable Ethereum signature, even against the intense negation of the void scar. It appears to be resisting absorption, albeit slowly." The star heart in Ilara's hand pulsed wildly, its light brightening, as if calling out to the artifact. The whisper in her mind returned. Stronger now. A desperate plea. "Connect. Restore. Remember. Esha. Ediunzen." "It's a piece of something important," Ilara murmured, her intuition screaming at her. "Something that belongs to the Ethereum. The shadow is trying to destroy it." "The proximity to the scar is too dangerous for retrieval," Aura warned. "Even with our shields, prolonged exposure will degrade the ship's integrity. And your own Ethereum energy reserves are depleting, Ilara, trying to maintain the protective field." Ilara felt the truth of Aura's words. Her head throbbed, and a tremor ran through her body. But the artifact, that beacon of fading light, called to her with an urgency that transcended her physical discomfort. This wasn't just about understanding the shadow. It was about saving something precious from its grasp. "There must be a way," Alara said, her voice filled with fierce determination. "Aura, calculate a trajectory for a close-range energy projection. Can we stabilize it, push it away?" Aura processed the request. Attempting to stabilize an object within a nascent quantum singularity would require an immense, focused burst of pure Ethereum. More than the Koi Stardust Weaver can generate safely, and certainly more than a single individual, even one of your sensitivity, could channel directly without severe repercussions. "But it's not trying to destroy the artifact directly," Alara observed, her mind racing. "It's consuming it slowly, like it wants to incorporate its energy, not just annihilate it. Maybe it can't annihilate pure Ethereum." "An astute observation," Aura conceded. "The shadow of absence, while antithetical to Ethereum, cannot entirely erase it. It seeks to corrupt, to twist, or to absorb its essence into its own void. This artifact appears to be uniquely resistant." A new thought sparked in Alara's mind. The chronodrive. It didn't just jump through space-time, it wove it. Could she use that principle? "Aura," Alara said. "What if we didn't just project energy? What if we used the chronodrive's weaving capabilities to create a temporary localized warp field around the artifact? A brief, stable pocket of space-time to extract it." Aura paused, a cascade of complex calculations visibly scrolling across her holographic form. "That is an incredibly ambitious and highly experimental maneuver, Alara. It would require precise synchronization of the chronodrive with your Ethereum channeling, creating a localized temporal bubble that would then need to be carefully collapsed to bring the artifact aboard. The risk of spatial distortion, or worse, tearing the ship apart, is substantial." "But possible?" Alara pressed, her eyes fixed on the struggling artifact. The hum in her now was a frantic, desperate plea. "Theoretically, yes," Aura admitted, her galactic eyes narrowing slightly. "But it would demand a level of Ethereum control and intuitive piloting far beyond anything you've trained for." Alara looked down at the star heart, its light now almost blinding in her hand. The whisper within her was a roar, a call to destiny. She remembered Lyra's words, "Trust your intuition. And always, always remember the light within you." "No. But I can do it, Aura," Alara declared, her voice ringing with newfound conviction. "Guide me. I'll need everything you've got." Aura's holographic form solidified, her expression becoming one of unwavering resolve. "Very well, Alara. Preparing chronodrive for localized temporal weaving, aligning with artifact's Ethereum signature. Brace for extreme fluctuations." Alara took a deep breath, centered herself, and closed her eyes for a moment. She focused on the star heart, on the vibrant Ethereum flowing through her, and on the whisper that had guided her across the stars. When she opened her eyes, they glowed with a faint, inner light. This was it. Her first true challenge. The first step towards understanding the shadow. And perhaps, towards saving the cosmic canvas itself. The Stardust Weaver pulsed, its core systems preparing for the impossible. The void scar pulsed back, its hungry emptiness reaching out. The fate of an ancient artifact, and perhaps the future of the Ethereum, hung in the balance, poised on the edge of a tier in space and time. Initiating chronoweave sequence, Aura's voice resonated through the cockpit, a steady counterpoint to the rising internal hum within Alara. Synchronizing Ethereum output with temporal field generation. Alara, focus your energy, channel it through the star heart, and project it towards the artifact. Visualize a bubble of stable reality, firm and unbreakable. Alara nodded, her hands now hovering over the holographic controls, not touching them, but guiding them with sheer force of will and the flow of Ethereum. The star heart in her palm flared, its internal starlight amplifying, merging with the growing energy of the Stardust Weaver. She felt a profound connection, as if she and the ship were becoming one, an extension of her own will. Outside the viewport, the spectral tendrils of the void scar seemed to recoil slightly under the surge of pure Ethereum energy emanating from the Koi Stardust Weaver. The ship itself began to shimmer, its iridescent hull shifting through a spectrum of impossible colors as the chronodrive spooled up. The stars, already dim, seemed to vibrate, as if the very fabric of reality was being stretched taut. "Now, Ilara!" Aura commanded. Precise moment of temporal synchronization. With a roar that was more felt than heard, Ilara unleashed a focused torrent of Ethereum energy. It surged from her, through the star heart, and into the ship's systems, guided by Aura's intricate calculations. A blinding ripple of light erupted from the Stardust Weaver's wings, spreading outwards in a perfectly spherical wave. For a terrifying instant, the Void Scar seemed to yield below in protest, a silent crushing wave of anti-Ethereum energy slamming against their shields. The ship groaned, alarms blared, and Ilara felt a searing pain as her carefully constructed Ethereum shield wavered, threatening to collapse. Despair, cold and absolute, tried to seep into her mind, an echo of the shadow's hungry emptiness. But the whisper within her countered it, a defiant spark. "Old. Light will prevail. Ian's. And demansia." Ilara pushed back, gritting her teeth, pouring every ounce of her will, every shred of her courage into maintaining the Ethereum flow. The star heart pulsed with frantic urgency, its light a shield against the encroaching darkness. Her vision blurred, but she held the image of the stable bubble firmly in her mind. Just as her strength threatened to give out, the ripple of light reached the ancient artifact. For a fraction of a second, time seemed to halt. The artifact, moments from being consumed, became encased in a shimmering temporal sphere. It hung there, suspended in an impossible moment, untouched by the Void Scar's relentless pull. "Temporal lock achieved." Aura's voice, though strained, held a note of triumph. "Now, Ilara, pulley. Guide the bubble towards the retrieval bay. Gently. Any sudden movement could destabilize the field." Ilara focused, not on the physical act, but on the feeling of drawing the artifact closer. She imagined a tether of light connecting her to the temporal bubble, pulling it slowly, steadily, away from the Void Scar's hungry edge. The ship's internal grav lifts hummed, subtly assisting. Inch by painstaking inch, the shimmering sphere, with the ancient artifact cradled within, moved. The Void Scar seemed to writhe, its tendrils lashing out, but the temporal bubble, sustained by Ilara's unwavering focus and Aura's precise calculations, held firm. The despair tried to return, but Ilara simply pushed it away, focusing on the light, on the life within the artifact. Finally, with a soft thud that reverberated through the Stardust Weaver, the temporal bubble settled into the ship's main retrieval bay. "Temporal field dissolving," Aura announced, her voice returning to its normal serene tone, though a faint ripple still played across her holographic form. "Artifact secured. Shields stabilizing. Ilara, your Ethereum reserves are critically low. I recommend immediate rest." Ilara slumped back in the pilot's chair, her body trembling, drenched in a cold sweat. Her head still throbbed, but a profound sense of exhilaration coursed through her veins. She had done it. She had faced the shadow and saved a piece of the Ethereum. "Take us to a safe distance, Aura," Ilara rasped, her voice weak but filled with quiet triumph. "Then, let's examine our prize." As the Stardust Weaver disengaged its chronodrive and gracefully retreated from the ominous presence of the Void Scar, Ilara felt the hum within her settle into a deep contented thrum. The whisper was no longer a plea, but a sigh of relief, a gentle affirmation. She was exhausted, but a new understanding had dawned. The shadow of absence wasn't just a distant threat. It was an active force, and it was collecting ancient Ethereum artifacts. This wasn't just about understanding. It was about preventing a cosmic catastrophe. She forced herself to her feet, her legs feeling like lead, and made her way to the retrieval bay. The artifact, now free of its temporal bubble, rested on a cushioned platform. It was larger than she'd thought, perhaps a meter in length, made of a dark, crystalline material that seemed to absorb and reflect the ambient light simultaneously. Its surface was covered in the intricate swirling symbols she'd vaguely recognized. They pulsed with a faint inner luminescence, a heartbeat of pure Ethereum. As Ilara reached out and gently touched the artifact, the star heart in her hand flared once more, resonating with its ancient kin. The symbols on its surface seemed to shift and rearrange. And then, slowly, a shimmering holographic projection sprang from the artifact itself. It wasn't a star chart or a technical schematic. It was a fragment of a memory. A visual and sensory echo of a world long lost, of beings of light and music, of a vibrant civilization connected deeply to the ethereum. And then, a jarring flash of destruction, a sudden, all-consuming darkness that swept across the holographic scene, leaving only silence and absence. "What is that, Aura?" Elara whispered, captivated and horrified. Aura's holographic form appeared beside her, her eyes wide with a new kind of wonder. "It is an Ethereum resonance data shard, Elara. A piece of a celestial archive. It contains not just information but the very essence, the memories and experiences of a civilization. This one, it recounts the fall of a world." The images flickered again, resolving into a single, majestic structure, impossibly vast, a crystalline citadel of light that seemed to float between stars. The artifact Elara had retrieved was clearly a fragment of Boitat-high structure. "The whisper," Elara murmured, her gaze fixed on the fading holographic memory. It wasn't just a warning about the shadow, it was a plea, a memory. This artifact, it's a key, a piece of a larger puzzle. Aura turned her gaze from the projection to Elara. "Indeed, Elara. If the shadow of absence is collecting these celestial archives, or rather, the remnants of worlds that once held them, it suggests a purpose far grander and more terrifying than mere destruction. It seeks not just to consume, but perhaps to understand what it consumes. To learn, and perhaps to weaponize." The implication hung in the silent retrieval bay, heavy and chilling. The shadow wasn't a mindless force, it was a calculating intelligence. And it was gathering fragments of cosmic history, pieces of the Ethereum itself. "The star heart is indicating a faint secondary resonance," Aura reported, breaking the silence. "Another fragment perhaps, located deep within the Veiled Sisters, but in a region distinct from the Void Scar. It appears to be broadcasting a distress signal, interwoven with an ancient lumina frequency." Elara looked at the celestial archive fragment, its light now steady and reassuring. The hum within her was no longer frantic but a focused, determined beat. She had saved one piece. Now, she had to find another. The cosmic canvas was vast, but the threads of destiny were beginning to intertwine, leading her deeper into its mysteries, and closer to the heart of the shadow. "Set a course, Aura," Elara said, her voice firm, the last vestiges of fear replaced by a burgeoning sense of purpose. "To the source of that distress signal, the universe is calling, and I will answer." The Stardust Weaver hummed to life, a low, comforting thrum beneath Elara's feet that echoed the newfound rhythm within her. Aura, ever efficient, projected a shimmering star map onto the command console, highlighting a faint, almost imperceptible beacon, the source of the distress signal. It lay far beyond the charted lanes, in a sector known only as the Veil of Whispers, a region shrouded in cosmic dust and ancient, forgotten nebulae. The journey was a ballet of light and shadow. They navigated through fields of crystalline asteroids that sparkled like frozen tears, skirted the edges of swirling gas giants, and plunged into nebulae that painted the void with brushstrokes of emerald and amethyst. With each passing star system, Elara felt the hum in her core intensify, pulling her forward like an invisible tether. It wasn't just a signal anymore. It was a conversation. A silent plea from the heart of the cosmos. The shadow's presence, too, grew more palpable. A growing chill that seemed to seep into the very fabric of the ship, manifesting as flickering lights and subtle shifts in gravity. Finally, they emerged into a vast, silent expanse. Before them floated not a planet, but a colossal, skeletal structure. The remains of an ancient Dyson sphere, its once glorious solar collectors, shattered and twisted, orbiting a dying star that pulsed with a weary reddish glow. The distress signal emanated from its hollow core. A faint, rhythmic pulse against the overwhelming silence. "Life signs?" Elara whispered, her voice barely audible above the ship's soft engine hum. Aura's holographic display flickered. "None, Elara. Only a strong, resonant energy signature. It matches the frequency of the piece you recovered. Elara docked the Stardust Weaver in a gaping aperture of the sphere, its interior a cathedral of decaying metal and stardusted shadows. The air was cold, still, carrying the faint scent of ozone and forgotten time. As she stepped onto the ancient floor, the hum within her pulsed frantically, guiding her through winding corridors and cavernous chambers, where gravity generators sputtered erratically, making her feel momentarily weightless, then heavy. She found it in a central chamber, a vast circular space where light from the dying star filtered through a fractured dome. Suspended within a delicate crystalline web of energy was a shimmering obsidian shard, pulsing with a deep, violet light. It was a mirror image of the piece she carried, yet subtly different, radiating a frequency of profound sorrow. As Elara reached for it, the temperature plummeted. The air grew heavy, thick with a crushing silence. From the deepest shadows, the shadow emerged. It wasn't a creature of flesh and bone, but an absence, a growing void that devoured light and sound, leaving only a cold, consuming emptiness. It pressed in, threatening to extinguish the violet shard, to silence the hum within Elara. Fear, cold and sharp, tried to claw its way into her heart, but she pushed it back. This was not a physical fight. It was a battle of resonance, of purpose against oblivion. She clasped the first piece tightly in her hand, its warmth a stark contrast to the encroaching chill. "You seek to unravel," Elara said, her voice steady, "but the universe sings of creation." She extended her other hand towards the obsidian shard. As her fingers brushed its surface, the two pieces flared, resonating with a harmonious ethereal chord that vibrated through the chamber, pushing back the oppressive void. The pieces weren't weapons, she realized. They were fragments of the universe's foundational song, lost notes that needed to be rewoven. The shadow was not evil, but a cosmic imbalance, a force of entropy that sought to silence the vibrant symphony of existence. By holding the two pieces, Elara became a conduit, a living tuning fork, allowing the fundamental frequencies of creation to flow through her. The combined light of the shards pulsed, growing brighter, warmer. The violet light of the second piece merged with the golden glow of the first, creating a swirling vortex of iridescent energy that pushed against the shadow. It shrieked, a soundless scream that resonated in Elara's bones, but it could not withstand the pure, harmonious melody. The shadow receded, not destroyed but contained, its oppressive presence shrinking back into the deepest corners of the universe, a necessary counterpoint to light, but no longer dominant. The Dyson sphere, once a mausoleum, began to stir. Faint, forgotten energies flickered, and the dying star beyond pulsed with a renewed, albeit gentle warmth. Elara felt a profound sense of peace wash over her, a deep understanding of her place in the cosmic dance. The hum within her was no longer just a warning or a guide. It was the universe itself, flowing through her, a continuous, vibrant song. She had not defeated the shadow, but restored balance, rekindling a lost harmony. Weary but resolute, Elara returned to the Stardust Weaver. Aura, sensing the shift, displayed a field of revitalized starlight on the main view screen. "The cosmic tapestry is mended," Elara, the AI stated, its voice soft. Elara looked out at the stars, now shining with a clearer, more vibrant light. She knew her journey wasn't over. There would be other lost melodies, other shadows to balance. But tonight, under the watchful gaze of a restored star, she closed her eyes, the hum within her a lullaby, a promise of endless wonder. The universe was vast, mysterious, and full of stories yet to be told, and she was ready for the next chapter. Her dreams would be filled with stardust and the quiet, steady rhythm of a cosmos in balance.